Hi, I'm Matt Eggenberger, founder and president of Door Renew. Thanks for viewing. I'll give you a little tour of my shop and a little background on Door Renew. So before we start, it might seem a little unusual, we're going to walk up here and take a look at Mr. Handyman. This is where it all started. I lost my job in late 2000 and started the Mr. Handyman franchise here in Cincinnati in 2001. I grew that business to 8 vans, and we got an enormous number of calls to refinish front doors. And I did what everybody else does. I dispatched one of my service techs. He'd try sanding it a little bit on site, maybe blending some stain, and adding a coat of sparred varnish. And the customer wasn't happy with the appearance. 3 months later, that varnish fell off, and we had a warranty claim. That wasn't the type of quality work we wanted to be associated with. We weren't happy, customers were happy, and I actually started turning down that type of work. 4 years later, I sold that business, went back to my former employer, and we'll take you to the shop now, tell you a little bit more about how we started. Well, now we're at my shop in Reading, Ohio. It's November 2016. We do all of our stripping and sanding in this shop, and we have another shop twice this size where we do the finishing that keeps the dust away. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the growth and founding of Door Renew. As I mentioned, I sold Mr. Handyman in 2005, and I was able to sell that for more than $200,000, which is another advantage of franchising. Had that been just Matt's handyman service, who knows what I could have gotten for it. But I had that national brand behind that business and was able to sell it for a very nice profit. Sold that business, went back to work for my old employer, and lo and behold, 3.5 years later, I'm laid off again. And the thought of doing doors stayed in my mind. And I was looking at my job search, looking over my options. I made a little press release and sent it to the Cincinnati Enquirer, and about 2.5 weeks later, they published it in the very back section of the business section in the Sunday Enquirer. Just a little 2-paragraph article about this business startup in the Cincinnati area that's going to concentrate on refinishing doors. Well, the phone blew up. I got over 35 calls from that. That was in September 2009, and that volume carried me through to December. Still wasn't sold that this was a viable business. Shut down the business when the winter came and proceeded to look at other career options. That was in insurance sales. I was going through the training process for Farmers Group Insurance, and that was 3 months. And right as we were finishing that up in March, lo and behold, the phone started ringing again. People had saved that article all winter long, and now it's springtime and they're calling me. Well, it didn't take me long to figure out that there was good demand for doors. I purchased some yard signs, set them at strategic intersections, didn't have a website. I took out a phone number from Magic Jack to have a separate number just for the business, and didn't even have a domain name. I was just using my personal email address, but the business kept growing and growing. And in less than 2 years, I'd outgrown my garage, and I found this shop space. Another great advantage of the Door Renew concept is you don't need upscale shop space in a commercial environment. This is in an industrial environment, and rent is a lot less. So now we've got this beautiful shop here where we do all the stripping and sanding, as I mentioned. We take the doors, we put them on carts, and we take it over to our other shop, which is around the corner here. And let's go have a look at that. Well, here's my finishing shop. The doors are stripped and sanded in the shop we were just looking at. And then we have a cart, we bring the doors over here where we lay them out and we can do all of our finishing. This keeps all the sawdust and everything down from getting on the doors. As you can see, the doors are arrayed. We got about 15 doors in here right now in various stages of production. It only took me a couple of years to outgrow my garage. Then I moved into the strip and sand shop where we would do all the production. We would cover the doors at night and put the coats of varnishes on late in the day. 2 years after that, we outgrew it and had to take on more space over here. And this keeps the production flow very good. We keep track of where we are on the doors. Right here on the end, we'll write the stain number and how many coats of varnish we have on each door. After about 4 years in the business, I realized this was a viable franchisable business. And from there, we started working on documenting all of our systems and procedures. And we'll go back to the other shop now, and I'll give you a little array of what we have there as far as support for the franchise. So we've talked a lot about how I got the business up and going. What we want to talk about now is how we're going to help you get a business up and going. When you buy a franchise, you're buying a complete business system. And as I just mentioned, we spent a lot of time developing our systems and procedures. We've got manuals for you, right from the introduction of what are the first steps you should be doing while starting a business, to establishing your business, meeting with your bank, getting your employer identification number, getting set up with the IRS, to personnel procedures, what you can and cannot do regarding hiring employees and retaining them, and hopefully you won't have to, but if you have to let them go, how to do that. Office procedures. What do you do on a daily basis? Once you collect that check from the customer, how are you going to record it in your accounting software? How are you going to account for it in your sales? How are you going to track sales? All those office procedures are ready to go for you. Your daily procedures. What is it like for a day in the door redo business? How are you going to start your business? How you should organize your day and your workflow for that day? And what assignments are you going to give to your employees, and what are you going to be doing? Then we have marketing. No good franchise would just let you go without support. We've got a door hanger system. We'll teach you how to use that effectively, and also postcards. All very low-cost marketing ideas to help you get your business up and going. And finally, and not the least, is safety procedures. Any business has got to have a safety and procedure manual, and what are you going to do in the event of any accidents, and have that ready to go. So we'd certainly love to have you come join us. We're growing. We have 4 locations now. Me here in Cincinnati, Dee Downey, who handles Northern Kentucky, which is just across the river from us, and 2 in Detroit. Those are my brothers John and Jeff, one in the north side of Detroit and one in the Ann Arbor, Novi area. And we'd sure love to have you join our family. Another advantage of Door Renew is you get experienced people to help you through your day. Both John and I are doing doors on a daily basis. We've seen just about everything so far, so when you run into something, we're only a phone call away and we can help you be successful. Please come and join us. Thank you very much.